Hi, welcome back to The Perspective on Berita Satu. I'm Blaise with Luigi Pralangga, talking about UN peacekeeping missions. You mentioned in the break The Handshake with the Devil, a film about peacekeeping commander in Rwanda. Can you talk a bit about that?
Although I personally have never been assigned in Rwanda, when I watched the movie, it really touched me deeply because I feel the pain and the challenges, the personal challenges that weighed by the peacekeepers on the ground. It is a great, how do you call that? I'm really deeply saddened of what had happened in Rwanda, and based on that, I believe the organization has already took a lot of reforms in strengthening their mandates to address protection of civilians. And speaking of civilians like myself, we are posed to pretty much similar threats when we are serving ourselves on the ground. There are threats of kidnappings. There are, apart from security threats, also health threats as well. There has been some colleagues of mine that I met in Liberia back in 2004 that still serving up to now that went through successfully during the time of Ebola in Liberia, and we exchange stories.
Scary time.
It's very. It is as equally as how do you call it, life-threatening when it comes to serving into a place where there are security threats. Mm-hmm. And epidemic threats like Ebola. My service in Liberia was in 2004 till almost 2011. At the time, Ebola was not an epidemic. It's more like security threats. But it has been very challenging, and it touches us to the personal level that having been serving in such challenging situations. And speaking of which, the challenges that maybe run in all other places, it gives us two things: ability to survive and to remain professionally engaged into our work, and then the ability to reflect on ourselves to become a responsible peacekeepers, because it's very important that we maintain our code of conduct as peacekeepers, regardless of what category are we serving. Category means whether you are civilians or either you are a uniformed peacekeepers. There are rules of engagement, there are code of conduct that we have to maintain the strictest, highest standards towards our interaction with the community that we stay, that our neighbors, the beneficiary that we serve. We should not jeopardize that through violations in terms of our engagement every day.
Well, the places that are most in need, right,
Yes.
is where it's most important you stay professional, because war, with that, it breeds disease, it breeds all these social ills.
That's right. So it's very important that whatever category that we are serving, we should not be part of the problem. We should solve the problem, because a lot of things that we also heard in the news that there has been instances of violations of sexual exploitation abuse by peacekeepers. This is really put a shame on us, because we are as peacekeepers over there. However, it is important. I mean, the organization, based on my experience when I was serving over there, has put a lot of robust policies to address that and to tackle the issues, including administrative dismissals, also disciplinary actions toward staffs that committed sexual exploitation and abuse while they're serving as peacekeepers.
And this is, it's a headline, it's sort of not what you associate with peacekeepers. This is a novel thing? Had this happened before?
Yes, in the past it happened, and the organization has put a lot of measures to reduce the occurrences through policies, training, and empowerment, because of course there are factors that made this happen. Factors that there's an equal balance between the beneficiaries and the presence of peacekeepers. The most prone...
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes.
When you say unequal balance, what do you mean?
Yes. By the arrivals of the peacekeepers, our beneficiaries are people in need in terms of their capacity to sustain themselves, while the peacekeepers are there to protect, may have a higher situations to how do you call that, to being coerced, especially towards women and young teenagers, girls. These unequal positions creates a coercive relationship that puts the other part into how do you call that, unequal balance. When peacekeepers engage into their relationship while serving in the areas, they may have been interacted with the women or young women there, that because of their situations, they are bound to engage into personal relationship that's not really equal. So
this sort of, at least in my mind, it shifts the spotlight to having more of a female presence within the peacekeeping corps.
Yes, that relates to the strategy of the organizations sending more women peacekeepers to address this. Yes.
Great. Well, look, we're going to go to break, but we'll be back on the perspective on Badi Desatu. Stay with us.